Welcome to MusikPalast. Today we will be looking at the best original soundtracks of the last decade. So let's dive into it. Number 10. Doom, 2016. Another awesome sequel to such an iconic franchise. In my opinion, the most fascinating aspect are the subtle nods to all Doom themes by borrowing little things from them to make you feel nostalgic while blowing your fucking head off. My recommendation: BFG Division. Number 9. Octopath Traveler, 2018. This soundtrack immediately reminded me of a mix between Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy VI. In typical Final Fantasy fashion, this soundtrack is divided by themes, 2 for each of the 8 characters, and also for areas and some amazing battle themes. My recommendation: Tension. Number 8. Final Fantasy XIV, 2010. This game had a rough start gameplay-wise, but the music's greatness was never in doubt. This release has another spin on typical Final Fantasy music, but nevertheless keeping the core of it intact. Like always, Final Fantasy delivers another flexible soundtrack with all sorts of genres available. My recommendation: Torn from the Heavens. Number 7. The Last of Us, 2013. One of my favorite things about this soundtrack is the unique instrumentation Gustavo Santaolalla uses for an adventure horror game. He is known for his use of a South American instrument called roncocó in a lot of his soundtracks, and The Last of Us is no exception. He also uses an orchestra which doesn't have any violins, and that could be associated to his use of the roncocó. Not your typical horror music, but that is what makes it great. And make no mistake, it still makes you stay at the edge of your seat. My recommendation: All Gone. Number 6. Undertale, 2015. Toby Fox, indie developer and composer of the game, did a great job at merging the music with the story. His instrumentation fits perfectly as a mix of old-style NES video game with a modern feeling by adding acoustic pianos, electric guitars, and bass. A really simple but effective soundtrack reminiscent of the old NES games. My recommendation: Spear of Justice. Number 5. The Witcher 3, 2015. Definitely my favorite aspect of this soundtrack is the instrumentation. Since Project Red is a Poland-based company and this game is based on a series of novels written by a Polish writer, they decided to use a lot of Slavic and Eastern European instruments. This adds a certain cultural background to the game that without it, we wouldn't be praising it so much. My recommendation, The Song of the Sword Dancer. Number 4. Celeste, 2018. Composer Lena Raine accomplishes a lovely soundtrack with great use of textures. She has stated in the past that she's a big fan of The Legend of Zelda, and I think it's apparent in the way she crafts her melodies and in her instrumentation choices. But the link between music and mental illnesses such as anxiety and depression is what makes this soundtrack stand out. My recommendation, First Steps. Number 3. Persona 5, 2016. This game has such a variety of genres executed to perfection, from disco, jazz, rock, soul, all the way to orchestral pieces and even some electronic tunes. What makes this a masterpiece by composer Shoji Meguro is how all of those crazy tunes make a perfect fit and not only within each other but also match the craziness of the game. My recommendation, Life Will Change.
Maybe I'm not here at all, but the fakers find it and with lies that break us all the soul. Oh, it's useless. What could it mean to wake here? What does it all mean? Can we make a difference? Really make a difference. If we don't break out of here, wake up.
Number 2. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, 2017. It's an accomplishment when you want to leave your console on in that particular area just to listen to that song over and over again. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does that and more. One of the aspects I love about the soundtrack are the variations of day and night for all areas. Probably the best soundtrack of any Nintendo Switch game out there. My recommendation, Incoming. And your number 1, Nier Automata, 2017. This score, like many on the list, doesn't limit itself to just one genre, from childish, light-hearted tunes to epic orchestral pieces. One thing I loved about this soundtrack is hearing the different versions of the same songs, either with or without vocals or in the 8-bit format. My recommendation, Amusement Park,